and the Finance Minister, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, has declared the successful conclusion of Ghana's debt restructuring initiative with its official creditors. The government has successfully obtained postponed interest payments as part of the debt restructuring agreement with external bilateral creditors.
The Member of Parliament for Karaga, who doubles as the Finance Minister, Dr. Enim Adams, stated that the government has effectively reorganized its debts of $5.1 billion with certain creditors, as well as finalized the restructuring of $13.1 billion with Eurobond holders. Dr. Enim Adams, speaking at a UK town hall meeting, emphasized that these initiatives have led to savings of $8 billion for the nation. Recently, the government managed to secure deferred payment of interest and extension on the maturity date through a restructured debt agreement with bilateral creditors.
Now, joining me via phone is an economist, Courage Buti, for some insights on this particular story. Good afternoon and thanks for joining me.
Good afternoon.
All right. Now, what's your take on the announcement? I believe this should come in as good news.
Well, yes, positive developments in the last few days or so on both from the official and commercial creditor front. I am not sure we can talk of, like the headline is suggesting, we can talk of completing external debt restructuring in the bracket of how we have decisively completed a domestic. I think the negotiations have progressed. At the official creditor stage, we've reached an MOU, which means that the general terms are agreed. Now we'd have to proceed to do the bilateral agreement with each one of the Paris Club members that have lent to us really. On the official creditor front, my understanding of, the commercial creditors front, my understanding is that we are reaching an agreement in principle also, of whatever the case may be, whether even a final agreement, you will still have to offer bonds in exchange for the old ones at the terms that were specified. Those fine details, I believe, are not out yet. So I am not exactly sure about the wording that we've completed external debt restructuring. Okay. But whatever the case may be, the development of both sides is a positive one. One, it shows that the growth outlook is a positive for this whole dynamics. It also shows that we are bringing to an end, or will soon bring to an end, this whole external debt restructuring conversation and what it comes with. The bearish sentiment and uncertainty about its sustainability and all of that may be soon behind us, and will set the stage for some continuous recovery going forward. I think that is the positive that comes of this. And also on the exchange rate front, the whole uncertainty, that means there's so much speculation. There could be a positive here now, in that we could, if completed, see some period where the CD could have some respite. Probably not a sharp appreciation or stuff like that, but maybe some stability or a bit of correction and then to stability from there. So we are moving into a promising phase, and we could be saying or potentially be saying that maybe the worst is behind us now. We're looking forward with optimism now.
All right, so moving on, looking at our current standing as a country in terms of the economy, how is it going to impact the country's economy especially?
Well, so if you recall, the IMF program had a total funding need of about 14.9, almost 15 billion. And what is going to come from the IMF was just about 3 billion, less than a quarter or so of that need. World Bank, AFDB, other multinationals were supposed to also come through with some flows, but all of them not as significant in the grand scheme of the total funding required. So the external debt restructuring is supposed to yield about 8 billion in terms of savings which will go to fund our balance of payment deficit position, or the gap in balance of payment that needed to be filled from those programs. He's talking 8 billion. Now, that is 2 billion short of what the target is. Then still a significant savings, if those figures are verifiable, still very significant. So it tells you we've closed the funding requirement, another program to a large extent, and that should be a recipe also for currency stability going forward. But the fine details, I believe, will be out in the coming days, where we could see the full terms that accompany this, and then, of course, the savings that came with it and all that. And then probably the analysis can be in a proper context. For now, it's just a statement without a lot of details.
Now, before I let you go, with the IMF still in the picture, do you feel this will put in their it will put us in their good books for further assistance in the future?
We have been in their good books. In fact, it's the reason they responded to us expeditiously when we needed a program. They have been with us all this while. In fact, they believe in Ghana's story, and the reason they have done all they could to even support with this restructuring stuff. So we have been. And the challenge mainly is not in program. In program, you are duty bound to be of good behavior, which we are doing well so far. The challenge is outside program and what we do thereafter. I think that is where the main challenge is. But IMF is a diplomatic institution, so they wouldn't have a role, public role with anyone on anything. Even if they clearly deviate from certain things, they can always sit back and have negotiations with you. And they will spell out what terms to engage you on, really. So I think we are in their good books, and we should be fine.
Now, before I let you go, what will be your advice to government in order not to get into this particular situation again?
Prudence. I mean, if there is another word to add to that, I will still say more prudence. And the reason is this: we have the public financial management laws or rules clearly defined, GIFMIS in place, the Treasury single account, and all the many components, the fiscal responsibility law, the memorandum on zero deficit financing, and all the things that on paper look good. We have a fiscal rule that, if we uphold, should ensure that we are behaving better in terms of fiscal administration. We have rules on commitment controls and rules on avoiding arrears creations and all that. We just haven't taken those rules seriously. We just haven't implemented them, and there was really no consequence for violating them. And these are the things that plunged us into the levels we are. We are in an election year. Typically, in election years, you see MDAs even rolling out programs, doing roads, doing other infrastructure projects where there is no funding to support them, and it normally will create arrears. Normally, you would discover these things after the elections, and they become bills you have to pay and all that. If we can ensure proper commitment control, if we can ensure proper adherence to the rules we have, we should be fine. We should remain within check. And then if there is need to grow beyond what we are doing now, then we raise it in the revenue from the legitimate sources to be able to do that. I don't believe in the overburdening of the taxpayer with so much more tax, increasing the tax rates and all that. If we can look at sustainable ways of growing revenue, then we can fund aspirations more sustainably. And then that will be the beginning of maybe a better story for Ghana in terms of fiscal management.
All right. Thank you so much, Courage Boti, who's an economist, helping us understand the declaration by the finance minister